the evidence nobody could locate until 2024. They convicted Marcus Webb of murdering his neighbor, Diane Colter, in 1998. Then, in March of 2024, a warehouse technician doing a routine inventory audit found a sealed evidence box mislabeled under a burglary case 3 shelves away. And inside it was the original 911 dispatch tape, the one prosecutors told the jury no longer existed. The official story was simple, and for 26 years it held. Diane Colter was found dead in her kitchen at 4:40 in the morning. Webb, her neighbor, had no alibi. A knife from his kitchen drawer matched the wound pattern. The prosecution's timeline said Webb entered through an unlocked back door at approximately 4:15, and that the 911 call placed by Colter herself before she died captured only static and a single male voice. At trial, jurors never heard that call. They were handed a 2-page transcript, certified by a court stenographer, stating the tape had degraded beyond playback and was later destroyed in a records purge. The transcript showed one voice. Webb's defense had no way to challenge audio that, according to the state, no longer existed. The box the technician found wasn't just intact. It was a master reel, not a courtroom dub, the kind dispatch centers kept before digitizing archives, sealed in a manila sleeve with an evidence tag dated the morning of the murder. Chain of custody, meaning the documented, unbroken record of who held a piece of evidence and when requires every transfer to be logged. This tape had none. No transfer slip, no signature. It had simply been shelved under case number 983311, a burglary that closed in 1999, 6 numbers off from Webb's actual file. A clerical accident, the department said. But evidence rooms don't misfile by accident when the item in question was sworn, under oath, to be destroyed. When the tape was finally played in a 2024 post-conviction hearing, it ran 4 minutes and 11 seconds, not the 90 seconds summarized in the transcript. And it wasn't one voice. It was 2. A woman's, breathless, saying Diane's name, and a second voice, lower, male, saying something the court reporter transcribed in 1998 as inaudible. Forensic audio analysts who cleaned the recording in 2024 isolated 7 words. "Tell them I was never here." That sentence does not appear anywhere in the trial record. The man convicted of saying nothing on that tape was, according to the transcript jurors saw, silent. The man on the actual tape was not silent. He was covering something. Here's why that recording sat in the wrong box for 26 years instead of surfacing on appeal. Dispatch tapes in this county were, by policy, sealed under a separate retention schedule than case evidence, meaning even Webb's own appellate attorneys, filing records requests in 2003 and again in 2011, were told the tape fell under a different custodian and a different statute, one that required a subpoena naming the dispatch center directly, not the police department. Nobody named the dispatch center. Nobody knew to. The transcript had already told them the original was gone. You don't subpoena a ghost. For over 2 decades, the actual physical evidence sat 40 feet from the property room that swore under oath it didn't exist, protected not by a conspiracy in the traditional sense, but by a jurisdictional seam nobody thought to check. But the tape wasn't the strangest part. Buried in the same misfiled box was a second item, a handwritten intake log, dated the same morning, listing a visitor to the property room at 6:50 a.m., 3 hours after the murder, before Webb was even a suspect. The name on that log was a detective who wasn't assigned to the case. His signature appears nowhere else in the file. 2 pieces of evidence, sealed together, both absent from a case that hinged entirely on what evidence existed. A misfiled tape is a mistake. A misfiled tape sitting next to an unexplained early morning visitor's signature starts to look like something arranged. What this means for the conviction is still being litigated. A second voice on the 911 call doesn't prove Webb's innocence outright, but it demolishes the state's own timeline, the one that told jurors Webb acted alone, in silence, with no one else present. If a detective outside the case had access to the property room before Webb was ever named, Someone controlled what the jury got to hear before the trial even began. The question isn't only who that second voice belonged to. It's who decided a real tape should be filed as a fake burglary, and why the system built around chain of custody, the very rules meant to prevent exactly this, never once flagged it in 26 years. Nobody has explained why an unassigned detective signed into an evidence room 3 hours after a murder no one had linked him to. And nobody has explained who the second voice on that tape belongs to. The state says the case remains closed. The tape says otherwise.